Hi, I'm Hunter, 36, and last Christmas my sister tried to blow up my marriage with a $99 DNA kit, and accidentally blew up her own life instead. Quick cast list before the ornaments start falling. I'm married to Kate, smart, steady, quietly savage when provoked. We've got a 12-year-old Melanie, who builds Rube Goldberg machines out of cereal boxes and talks about CRISPR at the dinner table. My sister Paige? Golden child with platinum-level entitlement. She's been auditioning for main character since 3rd grade and somehow got the judges to nod along, namely our parents, who treat consequences like a seasonal allergy. Setting: my parents' house in Scottsdale. Think beige walls, beige furniture, beige personalities when it comes to calling Paige out. It's the annual Christmas gauntlet, kids sugared up, adults pretending the punch isn't mostly vodka, Hallmark movie humming in the background like a hostage. Paige is doing her favorite thing, gift giving as performance art. Mom gets a scarf that screams Airport Boutique. Dad gets Kraft gin he'll insist is juniper forward, even though it tastes like pine cleaner. Her husband Sean, genuinely good guy, unfortunate choice in spouses, gets a watch. Their son Scott, 13, gets a gaming headset that probably hears better than the Supreme Court. Then Paige turns to my wife with the smile she saves for TSA agents and rival bridesmaids and hands Kate a tiny box. Inside, a $25 grocery card. Figured this would help, she chirps. I know money's tight on one income. We have 2 incomes. Kate works full-time as a graphic designer. Paige knows this. The dig lands, polite as a slap with lace gloves. Kate swallows it with a thank you that could freeze soup. And then Paige hands Melanie a bigger box with a little flourish, like she's opening Broadway. I watched Kate watch Paige watch us. The box is an Ancestry DNA kit, the spit in the tube, discover you re 2% Viking kind. Melanie lights up. Genetics. Mitochondrial this, haplogroup that. Meanwhile, Paige looks like a cat that finally got the bird to fly into the window. We get the presents home, and after Melanie's asleep, Kate sits on the edge of the bed with that look she uses for tough conversations and broken printers. Your sister's planning something. She always is, I say. But what's the angle this time? Mel's eyes, Kate says. They're hazel green. You're brown, I'm brown. Paige has been making comments for years. Genetics are funny, isn't it odd, trying to plant a flag where it doesn't belong. I lie there, staring at the ceiling fan, replaying those faux innocent quips I brushed off at barbecues and birthdays. The offhand? Where did those eyes come from? The half smile, half shrug. The pattern you only see when you step back far enough. I don't throw plates. I make plans. We let Mel take the test. I say. We follow it all the way through. When it shows what we already know, we staple those results to Paige's forehead. Kate tilts her head. You sure? Oh, I'm sure. I'm tired of losing arguments I never agreed to have. Melanie is thrilled. She treats the collection tube like it's a lab prize, reads every instruction twice, seals it like a space capsule, and insists on tracking the shipment like it's a Mars rover. Paige sends a "Hope the results are enlightening" text to the family thread. I put my phone face down before my blood pressure writes a response I'll regret. Then the first curveball I didn't see coming, Scott wants in. He's 13, science curious, and has watched enough genealogy reveals on YouTube to think we're all one male and kid away from discovering a great-great pirate. He begs. Sean laughs and orders a kit. Paige smiles too fast and then tries to cancel it with reasons that sound made up on the fly. Too expensive, it's on sale, waste of time, he's a kid. We already know our heritage. From a placemat at an Irish pub? But the kit ships anyway. Weeks pass. We live, we work, we don't buy into Paige's weather balloon of drama. Then, on a Wednesday after lunch, my phone buzzes. All caps from Melanie, Dad, it's here. Do not open without me. I wrap up at work in record time. At home, we huddle at the kitchen table like gamblers over a final card. Mel taps through the app, wide-eyed. Ancestry breakdown, mostly European, a sprinkle of Mediterranean, a whisper of North African that Melanie declares. The coolest thing ever. Then the big tab, DNA relatives. At the top, in bold, like the universe wearing a name tag, Hunter Mitchell, father, 50% DNA match. Melanie beams. Knew it. Kate meets my eyes and doesn't have to say a word. I take a screenshot and send it to Paige with a message so short it hums. Looks like genetics aren't that funny. No response. No dots, no backpedal, nothing. For the first time in years, the house feels quiet in a new way. Not the heavy silence you carry, but the light kind, the kind that arrives after a storm when the air is scrubbed clean and the sky finally remembers how to be blue. Somewhere across town, a fire Paige lit is about to jump the line and burn backward. We just don't know it yet. 3 days after Melanie's 50% match, father secured. Victory lap, Sean texts. Can I swing by? Need to talk. It's important. He arrives 30 minutes later looking like he hasn't slept since dial-up. He sits on our couch and keeps not drinking the water Kate hands him. Scott's results came in, he says to the carpet. I'm not his father. The words hang there like a chandelier we all pretend we didn't notice. Kate's knuckles go white around the glass. I slide my phone across the coffee table. Sean opens his email. The same interface, same cheerful fonts, except his top relative tab reads like a crime scene report. No Sean as father. No paternal link at all. Then he scrolls to a second result. I tested Chloe too, he whispers. 7 years old. I'm not her father either. The room shrinks. I can hear our fridge humming like it's trying to apologize for existing. This isn't a one-time mistake. This is a multi-year lie with birthdays and orthodontist bills. Does Paige know? I ask. Oh, she knows. Sean lets out a laugh that isn't a laugh. I confronted her last night. She said the test must be wrong. Then she cried. Then she said we had a rough patch. We did not have a rough patch. I had Taco Tuesdays and fixed the sink. She had someone from work. In my head, Christmas replays in slow motion, Paige's smile that didn't reach her eyes, the grocery gift card, the DNA kit wrapped like a grenade with a bow. She came to nuke my marriage. She put the launch codes on her own kitchen counter. What do you need? I say. I filed this morning. Sean answers. Divorce. And I'm going for custody. They're my kids, Hunter. Biology can try to tell me otherwise, but it wasn't there at 3 a.m. with the fever thermometer. You're not alone. I say. Use our house like neutral ground whenever you need. We're in your corner. He nods, eyes glassy, and leaves to pick up Scott from a friend's. 10 minutes later, my mother calls with the kind of tone she reserves for weather advisories and grocery coupons. Your sister is devastated. She opens without hello. Sean is overreacting. He's threatening the children's stability. Mom, I say, measuring each word. Paige lied to her husband for years. She handed our daughter a DNA kit to imply my wife cheated. There's a word for this that isn't devastated. You know how your sister is, she says, the family's favorite incantation. If you say it enough, responsibility evaporates. Please talk to Sean. I'm talking to a lawyer. I say, and hang up before the old dance music starts. I spend the next hour pulling every petty, poisonous text Paige has sent in the last decade out of the family thread. Isn't it odd Melanie doesn't look like you? Some people just can't help making things about themselves. The passive-aggressive birthday messages that somehow manage to be about her. Kate sits beside me, forwarding emails Paige sent after harmless dinners, critiquing outfits, recipes, the way Kate breathes air. We compile, label, timestamp. Data is my love language. If Paige wants to play public relations, I'll bring receipts, a binder, and an index. Then I remember the family trust. Grandparents, God rest their old-school souls, built it with a morality clause worded like it was chiseled into limestone. Conduct including, but not limited to, adultery, disqualifies a beneficiary. My father is trustee. Translation: he has to enforce it or he's breaching fiduciary duty. For once, the family's obsession with appearance meets a brick wall of actual rules. I call Dad. He answers in the voice he uses for clients and traffic stops. Hunter. We need to talk about the trust, I say. Specifically the morality clause. A long pause. Now isn't. Now is exactly the time, I say. Paige committed adultery for years. You are obligated to enforce the clause. I've had it reviewed, I add, because nothing motivates my father like the phrase third-party counsel. This is a family matter. He tries. No, Dad. This is a trust matter. If you won't enforce it, I'll petition the court to remove you as trustee. Your call. Silence. I can practically hear the cogs grind through pride, denial, and fear of litigation. I'll review the documents, he says. Do that, I reply. And Dad? If you bury this to protect Paige, I'll dig it up with a backhoe. I hang up to the sound of Kate exhaling a laugh. Did you just threaten your father with a shovel? Figuratively, I say. But yes. Paige, meanwhile, switches tactics from smug to scorched earth. She shows up at our door, mascara in full Broadway tragedy. Kate answers. I need to talk to Hunter. Paige snaps, shouldering forward. He doesn't want to talk to you. Kate says, calm, even the way you respond to a raccoon in your pantry. This is exactly what you wanted. Paige hisses. To turn him against his own family. I step into the foyer. You handed my child a DNA kit to blow up my marriage. It was a joke, she says. Your punchline was a custody hearing. Paige's face hardens. The sobbing act evaporates like stage fog. You're choosing him over me. I'm choosing right over loud. I say. When this blows up in your face. She warns. You already said that at your wedding. I remind her. She blinks, remembering the champagne-colored bridesmaid dresses she insisted were not remotely white, and the months-long grudge that followed because my wife somehow wore the assigned dress too well. History doesn't repeat, it remixes with worse lighting. I lock the door behind her and text Sean. Bring Scott and Chloe over this weekend. Pizza, Mario Kart, normal. He replies with a single word I haven't seen from him in days. Thanks. On Monday, Dad sends Paige a formal notice. She's removed from the trust per the morality clause. Her share redistributed to me and our younger brother. The phone explodes. Paige screams theft. Mom calls me. Cold. Dad hides behind lawyer speak and silence, a new and interesting choice for a man who usually hides behind reputations and golf. I take the windfall and quietly dump it into Melanie's college fund. It feels poetic to use Paige's consequences to fund my kid's future. Kate kisses my temple and says, That's the hottest spreadsheet you've ever made. The custody battle begins like a symphony tuned by a garbage disposal. Paige files claims that Sean is controlling and emotionally abusive. Words she learned from podcasts and misapplied within minutes. Sean hires Julia, a family law buzzsaw in heels. Julia collects texts, credit card charges to hotels when Paige was at a conference, and enough coworker statements to turn Paige's rough patch into a timeline with neon arrows. Paige escalates with drama school improvisation. She shows up at the kids' school for surprise lunches, tells the office she's allowed to take them early, and tries to correct Scott's science teacher about DNA accuracy. The principal adds a big red note to the file. Released to Sean only. Paige threatens to sue the school. The school offers her a pamphlet on appropriate parent conduct. It's like watching fireworks from a safe distance, bright, loud, and somehow sad. At night, Scott stops replying to Melanie's texts. She asks me why. I tell her the G-rated version. His family is going through a hard time. He'll come up for air. I don't tell her his classmate called his mom a name, and Scott punched him and got suspended for 3 days. I don't tell her he told the counselor he feels safer at his dad's. I don't tell her that grief for the living looks a lot like anger with nowhere to go. We prep for court. Kate and I gather 10 years of Paige being Paige into a binder that could double as a doorstop. Julia reads it, whistles, and says, "You're testifying." My parents get subpoenas. Mom calls me crying. Dad calls me furious. I tell them both the same thing. Tell the truth or perjure yourselves. Your choice. The hearing is set. Tuesday, 9 a.m. I lay out a button-down. Kate prints exhibits. The house goes quiet as a church before the organ starts. Somewhere, Paige is practicing her tears in a bathroom mirror. Somewhere else, a judge is sharpening her pencil. Midweek, mid-mess, mid-silence, a thought hits me as I switch off the kitchen light. Paige ran a DNA test to try to rewrite our story. She forgot science doesn't care about her plot. Evidence doesn't pick sides. It just sits there, dumb and heavy and true. And when you stack enough of it in one place, even the people who know how your sister is have to feel the weight. The courthouse smells like old paper and tension. Kate and I sit behind Sean at the petitioner's table. Paige walks in 10 minutes late, sunglasses still on indoors, carrying a tissue she'll never use. Her lawyer looks like he regrets every career choice that led him here. The judge, a middle-aged woman with no visible patience for theatrics, opens the hearing. This is a custody and divorce proceeding for Mr. and Mrs. Patterson. Counsel, proceed. Julia, Sean's lawyer, starts with surgical precision. Your Honor, this case centers not around biology, but deception. My client raised 2 children in good faith for over a decade. Mrs. Patterson misrepresented their parentage, lied to her husband, and now seeks to use those same lies to retain custody. She presents the documents like she's dealing cards. DNA results. Texts. Credit card charges from hotels and months. Paige was allegedly working late. Emails between Paige and her office affair partner, a guy named Josh who probably has motivational quote. Tattoos and a LinkedIn headline about grind set. Paige shifts in her seat, gripping that unused tissue. Her lawyer starts the damage control tap dance. Yes, my client made mistakes, but Mr. Patterson is motivated by revenge, not the children's best interest. The judge raises an eyebrow. Do you have evidence of that, counselor? He stammers something about emotional distress, but the judge waves him off. Proceed with witnesses. Sean takes the stand first. Calm. Solid. The kind of quiet decency that makes the truth sound louder. They're my kids, he says, voice steady. I fed them, read to them, sat through dance recitals and science fairs. I'm not walking away now. Julia leads him through it all. Photos of birthday parties, report cards, medical appointments. All the invisible labor Paige never touched. Then Paige testifies. Her voice trembles on cue. I made a terrible mistake, she says, dabbing her eyes. But I love my children. Julia stands. Mrs. Patterson, how long did the affair last? Paige hesitates. A few years. So, not a one-time lapse, a sustained deception over multiple years? I suppose, Paige says, chin quivering. And during that time, you allowed your husband to believe both children were his? Paige's silence stretches. Mrs. Patterson, please answer the question, the judge says. Yes, Paige whispers. Julia nods. And if not for the DNA tests, would you have told him the truth? I didn't want to hurt him, Paige insists. Julia's tone hardens. So instead, you let him raise children under false pretenses. You handed another man's kids to your husband and let him build their lives on a lie. Paige cracks. You don't understand, she shouts, startling even her own lawyer. He was always working, and I. The judge cuts her off. Mrs. Patterson, this is not about emotional validation. Sit down. Next, Julia calls her final witness, me. The clerk swears me in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do, I say. Julia. Mr. Mitchell, Can you describe your relationship with Mrs. Patterson? She's my sister, I answer. And would you say she has a pattern of manipulation? Yes, I say, and I see Paige's glare cut through the room like a laser pointer on gasoline. Julia gestures for detail. Can you elaborate? So I do. The wedding dress that wasn't white but somehow was. The years of digs at my wife. The grocery card wrapped in condescension. The DNA kit meant to imply my wife cheated. She wanted to humiliate Kate, I say. She wanted to make my family look like hers. And the DNA results? They proved she was wrong. My daughter's mine. Her stunt backfired. Paige's lawyer objects. Speculation. The judge sighs. Overruled. Continue. Julia finishes. How would you describe Mrs. Patterson as a mother? I pause. She loves her kids, but loves not enough when you treat everyone like supporting characters. She's impulsive. Self-serving. My brother-in-law is the one who's stable. Julia nods. No further questions. As I step down, Paige leans forward and hisses, "Traitor." I whisper back, "Truth-teller." Then the judge calls the school counselor. Middle-aged woman, calm voice, the kind people instinctively trust. She talks about how Scott's been showing aggression, confusion, guilt. How he told her, "Dad feels safe. Mom feels loud." The judge's face doesn't move, but her pen stops writing. That silence is lethal in court. By the end of the second day, Paige's performance has collapsed under the weight of her own contradictions. The judge looks over her glasses, exhausted. I've reviewed the evidence and testimony. I'm awarding primary custody to Mr. Patterson. Mrs. Patterson will have supervised visitation. 2 hours bi-weekly. The gavel hits. Paige goes pale. Sean exhales for the first time in months. Outside the courthouse, he hugs Kate first, then me. "You saved my kids," he says. "No," I say. "You did that. We just made sure no one could lie about it." As he walks away, Paige storms past, muttering into her phone, voice cracking between sobs and fury. My mother calls before I reach the car. "She's devastated, Hunter. How can you just stand by?" "Mom," I say quietly. "Paige built this. I'm just done pretending the wreckage is someone else's fault." When I hang up, Kate squeezes my hand. "It's over?" "Mostly," I say. Karma's still finishing her paperwork. The ink on the court order was barely dry before Paige began her second act, The Victim Chronicles. She posted on Facebook first. A long, tragic monologue about betrayal, family disloyalty, and a husband who turned everyone against her. It was 12 paragraphs of self-pity, complete with a filtered selfie of her clutching her kids' baby pictures. The caption, "One day they'll know the truth." Comments flooded in. Her friends from yoga and work left hearts and "Stay strong, queen" emojis. The family split down predictable lines. Mom liked it, Dad didn't touch it, my cousins screenshotted it for me like gossip journalists. Kate read it out loud that night while making dinner, doing Paige's whiny impression between sentences. "I've lost everything because people can't forgive one mistake," she snorted. She spells mistake like it's short for 10-year double life. I tried to shrug it off, but then the text started. My phone lit up with unknown numbers. "You should be ashamed. Family sticks together. How could you testify against your own sister? Paige said you lied in court. She's going to appeal." I blocked everyone. The next morning, my mom called crying again. "Hunter, you went too far. She's your sister. She's a grown adult, Mom. She made her choices. You can't keep pretending she's 12. She needs her family right now." She had her family. She lit it on fire. That ended the call. Again. Meanwhile, Sean was adjusting to single fatherhood like a man holding both victory and trauma in the same hand. He moved into a townhouse 5 minutes from the kids' school, kept the same bedtime routine, same breakfast jokes, same everything. They need consistency, he told me. And therapy. Julia, his lawyer, had lined up a child counselor for Scott and Chloe. I covered the first few sessions as a quiet thank you. The counselor later told me, off the record, that the kids were resilient, but angry. Scott especially. He'd asked if he was a mistake. That one sentence wrecked me for a whole night. Paige hadn't just destroyed her marriage, she'd rewritten her kids' sense of self. 2 weeks after the ruling, Kate and I hosted a Saturday game day. Sean brought the kids. Scott looked exhausted but lighter, like he was finally breathing air that wasn't poisoned by adult lies. Melanie beat him at Mario Kart twice, gloated mercilessly, and the sound of their laughter filled the living room like the antidote to every courtroom memory. At one point, while they were upstairs, Sean sat on our porch and said, "I used to think forgiveness was noble. Now I think it's a luxury. You can forgive without inviting someone back in," I said. "Just don't leave the door unlocked." He nodded, smiling for the first time in weeks. Then came the email. Subject line, Trust Reconsideration Notice. Dad's law firm letterhead. Attached, a scanned copy of the trust modification confirming Paige's removal and redistribution of funds. It was official. Her $50,000 was split, half to me, half to our younger brother, Ethan. I didn't need the money, but I knew what to do with it. I opened Melanie's college savings account and transferred the entire amount. When I told Kate, she teared up a little. "Your sister's chaos just funded our daughter's stability. That's poetic justice. Accidental philanthropy," I said. We didn't tell anyone else, but somehow, Paige found out. She called from a new number, screaming before I could even say hello. "You think you're so righteous, Hunter? You stole my inheritance." "It's not inheritance. It's a trust, and you broke the clause. You manipulated Dad into this." "Dad didn't need manipulation. You handed him evidence wrapped in hotel receipts." Her breathing was ragged. "You've ruined my life." "No, Paige. You did that. I just stopped cleaning up after you." Then came the text, "You'll regret this." Followed by another, "Everyone will see who you really are." Kate looked over my shoulder. "She's escalating. She's always escalating," I said. "But she's out of ammo now." Or so I thought. Because the next morning, our doorbell rang at 7 a.m. It was Dad. Still in his golf clothes, expression unreadable. He walked past me into the kitchen without asking, poured himself coffee like he lived there. "Your sister's threatening to sue me," he said flatly. "Claims the morality clause is outdated and discriminatory." "Is it?" Kate asked, arms crossed. Dad sighed. "No. It's airtight." The lawyer confirmed it. He rubbed his temples. "But she's saying she'll go public, tell everyone the family turned on her, make a scene." "She already did," I said. "Online. She's halfway to a Lifetime movie deal." He looked at me, tired in a way I'd never seen. "You got your sense of justice from me. I just never thought you'd use it on me. You taught me to do what's right," I said. "Not what's easy." He stared at his coffee, then nodded. "You're right. I just wish your mother could see it that way." Mom called later that night, her voice cold instead of tearful this time. "I hope you're happy. Paige might lose her job. The company's investigating her because of the affair. Actions have consequences, Mom. Families should forgive. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending nothing happened." She hung up without another word. The following week, Kate showed me a social media post, Paige again. This time, she wasn't crying. She was angry. Long rant about toxic relatives, fake brothers, and how greed and jealousy destroy families. Comments were fewer now. The sympathy was fading. Even her loyal audience was getting fatigued from the reruns. Kate scrolled through, unimpressed. She's losing control of her own narrative. I looked at the picture she posted, her sitting alone at a restaurant, glass of wine, caption New Beginnings. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But then I remembered Scott's question, was I a mistake? and any pity I might have had turned into quiet resolve. Because Paige wasn't the victim of karma. She was the author of it. By spring, Paige had turned from the villain in her own story into its unreliable narrator. Her social media updates became a carousel of contradictions. One day she was a strong single mom rebuilding her life. The next she was a mother wronged by a corrupt system. Her followers, the few who hadn't muted her yet, started leaving comments like, "Maybe focus on your kids instead of Facebook." But Paige didn't stop. She pivoted. A month after the ruling, she announced she was writing a book. No title. No publisher. Just an upcoming memoir about truth, betrayal, and resilience. Translation: a delusional PR campaign. Kate showed me the post one morning over coffee. Think she'll include the part where she gave a 12-year-old a DNA kit to destroy her brother's marriage? Probably under creative foreshadowing, I said. At that point, we were done engaging. We'd done our part, testified, supported Sean, stayed above the nonsense. Or so we thought. Because Paige wasn't done losing. Sean called one afternoon sounding bewildered. "You'll never believe what she just did." "Try me." "She showed up to Scott's school again. Claimed the visitation order was changed. Told the office she was allowed to take him home for the weekend." My stomach sank. "And?" "The school called me immediately. They've got her on camera arguing with the secretary and refusing to leave. Security escorted her out. She's been banned from the campus." I closed my eyes. "She's not getting the message, is she?" "No," Sean said quietly. "She's unraveling." The incident made it into the court record within 48 hours. Julia filed a motion to restrict visitation even further until Paige completed mandatory counseling. The judge granted it. Paige now had supervised sessions once a month at a family resource center, under observation. That broke something in her. A week later, she texted me from a new number again. "You've turned everyone against me. You've taken my kids, my money, my reputation. Congratulations. Are you happy now?" I typed back, "No, Paige. I'd have been happy if you hadn't detonated your own life." I blocked her again. Sean sent updates now and then. The kids were in therapy, Chloe was drawing again, Scott joined a robotics club. He even met someone new, a teacher named Allison. Down to earth, funny, the kind of woman who doesn't use words like manifesting in real life. When he introduced her to us, she shook my hand and said, "I've heard you're the brother-in-law with the receipts." "Only the organized ones?" I said. Kate leaned in. He alphabetized them by emotional damage. For the first time in months, we laughed, really laughed. Not that shaky, post-battle chuckle, but the real kind that sounds like air coming back into your lungs. Life started to normalize. We hosted a small barbecue, Sean, the kids, Ethan, our younger brother, and a few friends. The kids ran through the sprinkler, shouting and laughing, and for once there wasn't a single shadow of drama. And then, right as the burgers were done, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. "Hunter Mitchell?" "Yes. This is Officer Harris with the Scottsdale Police Department. Are you related to a Ms. Paige Patterson?" Every muscle in my body tensed. "She's my sister." "Why?" "She's been detained at a grocery store for an altercation. She listed you as her emergency contact." Kate saw my face drain of color. "What happened?" she mouthed. The officer continued. "Apparently, she confronted a woman she believed to be involved with her ex-husband. It got physical. No serious injuries, but she's being held overnight for disorderly conduct and harassment." I exhaled slowly. "Was it Allison?" There was a pause. "Yes, sir. The victim declined to press charges, but there's a restraining order pending." When I hung up, Sean was already watching me, his face pale. "It's Paige, isn't it?" "Yeah," I said quietly. "She went after Allison." He swore under his breath, sat down hard. "I thought she was done." "She's never done," I said. Kate went inside and came back with a beer. So what now? No, I said. We let her face what she's been dodging her whole life, consequences without rescue. And we did. Nobody bailed her out. Not Mom, not Dad, not me. She spent the night in a holding cell, and the next morning, Sean's lawyer filed a permanent restraining order. Paige officially became the cautionary tale she'd spent years writing for everyone else. In the following weeks, her Facebook went silent. No posts, no quotes, no filtered tears. Just gone. Until one afternoon, Kate found a new account, private, 2 followers, no pictures, but the bio read, "Starting over. No more lies." I wanted to believe it. I really did. But then I remembered the look on her face at that Christmas party, the satisfaction of handing my daughter a DNA kit like it was an invitation to war. And I realized something. Some people don't learn because they fall. They only learn when there's no one left to catch them. The year after Paige's implosion felt strangely calm, like the quiet after a storm you didn't realize had become your normal weather. Sean was thriving. He'd sold the old house, paid off his debts, and started coaching Scott's robotics team. Chloe had taken up painting. The kids were doing better than anyone had a right to expect. They still had their scars, nights when Scott would call his dad crying after a supervised visit, or Chloe would draw families that always had one person standing off to the side, but they were healing. As for Paige, she became more rumor than reality. We heard she quit her job at the insurance company after HR encouraged her to seek opportunities elsewhere. Word was, her affair partner Josh had transferred to another city. Mom tried to spin it like it was a noble fresh start. "She's taking time for herself," she said during one of her check-in calls. Translation. Kate muttered beside me. "She got fired." Mom didn't appreciate that. "You two are so judgmental." "Correction," I said. "We're so accurate." By then, Mom and Dad had chosen their side, Paige's, naturally. They spent holidays with her, ignored Sean and the kids, and pretended the court documents were a bad dream. At some point, I stopped trying to make them see reason. You can't wake people who are committed to sleeping through the fire alarm. But karma wasn't quite done with Paige yet. A few months later, I got a call from Ethan, our younger brother who'd somehow dodged the family's dysfunction like Neo in the Matrix. "You sitting down?" he asked. "Should I be?" "Depends." Paige tried to appeal the custody ruling. I laughed. "You're kidding." "Not even a little." The judge denied it before the ink was dry. "But she filed it pro se." "She represented herself?" "Yeah," Ethan said, chuckling. "Cited emotional injustice and biased sibling testimony. It was basically a rant with letterhead." Kate, overhearing, snorted so loud she nearly choked on her coffee. "Emotional injustice? What's next, moral bankruptcy?" Ethan sighed. "She's unraveling, man. Mom said she's been talking about moving out of state. Starting fresh." "Good," I said. "Let her start fresh somewhere far enough away to need a map." And for a while, that's exactly what happened. Paige moved 2 states over. Changed her last name. Got some remote customer service job that didn't require human contact. The family thread went silent, except for the occasional update from Mom, who dropped things like, "Paige is doing better," or "Paige started going to church again." Every time, it sounded less like a statement and more like a prayer. Then one morning, almost a year to the day after that disastrous Christmas, I woke up to a knock on my door. It was early, too early for anyone who wasn't bringing bad news or coffee. It was Sean. He looked serious, but calm. "Got a minute?" We sat on the porch. The Arizona sun was just coming up, painting everything in that gold that makes even the cacti look gentle. "I got a letter from Paige," he said finally. "Handwritten." I blinked. "You opened it?" He nodded. "I did. It wasn't what I expected." He handed it to me. The envelope was plain, no return address, just a shaky script that said, "For Sean and the kids." The letter inside was short. Sean, I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted to say thank you for being their father when I wasn't capable of being their mother. I was selfish and cruel, and I see that now. I'm getting help. Tell Scott and Chloe I love them enough to stay away until I deserve to say it to their faces. Paige. I read it twice. The words didn't sound like the Paige I'd known. No manipulation, no blame, no martyrdom. Just honesty. Or maybe exhaustion disguised as honesty. Sean watched me carefully. You think she means it? I handed it back. I think for once she's not performing. And if that's real, then maybe there's hope for her. Kate came out with coffee and leaned on the doorframe. What's going on? Paige wrote a letter, I said. Kate froze. Apologizing? In a way, Sean said. Says she's getting help. Kate sipped her coffee. Therapy or witchcraft? Hopefully both, I said. We all laughed quietly. And that was the last time Paige's name came up in any serious way. Months rolled into a year. Melanie got accepted into an advanced STEM program. Scott's robotics team won regionals. Chloe started selling her paintings online. Sean and Allison got engaged the following Christmas. Small backyard ceremony, just close friends and family. I stood there watching him dance with his kids under a string of lights, realizing something. Every time Paige tried to burn the world down, the people she hurt rebuilt something stronger from the ashes. When the night ended, Sean hugged me tight. You ever think about how all this started? He asked. I smiled. Yeah. A $25 grocery card and a DNA kit. He laughed, shaking his head. Guess karma's got a sense of humor. Or good timing, Kate added, leaning into me. Later, when everyone left and the house was quiet again, I sat in the backyard under the stars. Same place this whole story had started, just with more peace and less chaos. I thought about Paige's letter, about Sean's second chance, about my parents still pretending everything was fine, and about how the truth doesn't destroy families. It just shows who's willing to live in it. And for the first time in a long time, I was genuinely thankful for karma. Because she doesn't forget, but she also doesn't always punish. Sometimes, she just balances the scales.